The Zygon hegemony had observed 1,000 civilizations, nurtured dozens, and integrated a handful into a grand collective. Their ships, silent whispers of light woven from sentient alloys, had charted the nebulas of 100 galaxies. Yet none had sparked such a volatile mix of hope and profound apprehension as the world designated Sol 3. Initial probes reported a painter's palette of a planet, cerulean oceans, emerald continents, and swirling alabaster clouds. Its primary sentient species, bipeds of remarkable adaptability, had named it Earth. For the Xylos, a species whose collective consciousness thrived on harmony and the elegant dance of shared intellect, Earth presented a fascinating anomaly. Their initial reports were promising. Intricate social structures, symbolic communication, and innate drive for creation. From the orbital cloisters designated Arbiter 9, the Xylos Council had watched humanity's slow, often painful climb from the primordial soup to star-faring ambition. Centuries slipped past like grains of time through an hourglass. The Xylos long-range sensory arrays, capable of translating subatomic vibrations into coherent data streams, meticulously catalogued every facet of human existence. They witnessed the initial sparks of civilization, the grand monuments to emerging gods, the first tentative forays into science. There was a raw beauty to humanity's burgeoning intellect, a frantic energy that hinted at limitless potential. The Council prepared the first contact protocols, a standard template for species demonstrating self-awareness, compassion, and a unifying trajectory towards interstellar cooperation. Then the data began to shift. It wasn't a sudden cataclysmic, but a slow, insidious seep of discordant frequencies. The Xylos primary empathic projector, a colossal crystalline matrix designed to interpret the emotional resonance of an entire planetary biosphere, started to hum with a distinct, unsettling vibration. It began with the tribal skirmishes, understandable reflexes of survival and resource contention. But as humanity coalesced into larger societies, forming city-states and then empires, the nature of their conflicts transmuted. The Xylos sensors registered the siege of Troy, not just as a historical event, but as a cacophony of fear, hatred, and a chilling thrive of dominance. The expansion of Rome was no simple and territorial acquisition. It resonated with the crushing weight of subjugation, the casual brutality inflicted upon the conquered, the Mongol hordes sweeping across continents left not just physical devastation, but a searing emotional scar that lingered for centuries in the planet's psychosphere. The Xylos, a species that had long ago transcended the need for violence, struggled to categorize this data. Their algorithms, designed to identify patterns of cooperation and mutual aid, choked on the sheer volume of organized aggression. They saw vast swathes of humanity and history dedicated not to advancement, but to the methodical, often gleeful destruction of their own kind. As the centuries bled into millennia, the cacophony intensified. The probes bore witness to the Inquisition, the transatlantic slave trade, the genocides that punctured the rise and fall of empires. The empathic projector on Arbiter 9 pulsed with an almost unbearable pressure. The Xylos felt the screams of the dying, the despair of the oppressed, the cold, analytical intent of the executioner. Most disturbing of all, they registered a particular resonance with the human psyche. A dark, primal echo that seemed to find bizarre satisfaction, an almost euphoric release in the assertion of power through pain. It wasn't survival. It was will. The 20th and 21st centuries brought the data to a fever pitch. Global conflicts of unprecedented scale, where technological prowess was turned inwards, perfecting the art of mass annihilation. Nuclear shadows stretched across the planet's surface, and the Xylos-sensitive instruments detected the psychic residue of millions, perhaps billions, of sudden, violent deaths. The projector screamed with the unbearable weight of the Holocaust, the Holodomor, the Rwandan genocide, the innumerable proxy wars, and terrorist acts that splattered the planet with blood. They watched humans invent virtual realities dedicated to simulated cruelty, broadcasting entertainment that glorified brutality and conflict. They saw the casual disregard for their own planet, the relentless extraction of resources, the poisoning of their air and water, all fueled by an insatiable hunger for growth, for dominance. The Xylos understood competition, but never before had they witnessed a species that so consistently turned its most potent weapons, its intellect, its creativity, its organizational capacity, against itself and its own home. The High Council convened in a chamber where light bent to thought, its crystalline walls reflecting the sorrowful data streams. Elder Xylos, beings who had guided civilizations older than Earth itself, observed the holographical projections of human suffering.
They are capable of immense beauty,
asserted Lyra Prime, her voice a calm hum of light.
Their art, their music, their scientific breakthroughs. They speak of a profound capability for creation and understanding.
And destruction, countered Crail, the hegemony's chief historian. Their history is a tapestry woven with threads of ingenuity and atrocity. For every symphony, a slaughter. For every scientific leap, a more effective weapon. The most disturbing aspect, interjected Thyala Theta, the lead empath, his form shimmering with residual distress, is the intent. It is not merely a byproduct of survival. There is a deeply ingrained capacity for what they call cruelty, an almost celebratory infliction of pain, even upon their own kind. It is a psychological scar that appears to be self-perpetuating, passed down through generations, often rationalized as justice or national pride. The Council reviewed the latest projections. Even in their moments of peace, the planet pulsed with a low, constant thrum of aggression, domestic violence, systematic oppression, the casual dehumanization of those deemed other. Their political systems were often predicted on conflict. Their economics often thrived on exploitation. It wasn't just a phrase. It appeared to be a fundamental operating principle. The silence that followed was heavy, laden with the weight of cosmic disappointment. The Xylos had approached this world with the anticipation of a new, vibrant mind to add to the collective. They had found a species trapped in a perpetual cycle of self-torment. The Council's verdict was unanimous, etched into the hegemony's ethical codex for all eternity.
We cannot intervene,
Lyra Prime declared, her voice resonating with an uncharacteristic somberness.
To engage would be to expose ourselves to an energy signature that is profoundly destabilizing. To offer guidance would be to meddle with a species whose trajectory is fundamentally alien to our own. A species that appears to derive a measure of its potency from the very violence it inflicts.
They are a beautiful, terrible enigma, Kale added. A species that has weaponized their own suffering, perfected the art of self-destruction, and found a twisted solace within the storm. We cannot join them. The order was issued. Sol 3, Earth, was to be quarantined. No contact, no resources, no guidance. Just observation from a safe, respectful distance. A perpetual watch, not of nurturing expectation, but of a profound, terrifying caution. The Xylos, the architects of interstellar peace, had found a species too violent, even for them. Miles below the Arbiter 9, on the surface of the green and blue world, a young woman named Alara stood on the cracked asphalt of a city rooftop. The sky above was a canvas of indifferent stars, momentarily unmarred by the perpetual glow of the urban sprawl. She dreamt of other worlds, of connection, of a future beyond the grime, and a constant low thrum of discontent that vibrated through the very bones of her city. She felt isolated, small, and utterly alone, unaware that she was being watched by beings who had seen her species, dissected its soul, and decided to let it burn, untouched in its own terrible glory. The Xylos ship, cloaked and silent, turned their backs on the troubled jewel, retreating into the endless dark, leaving Earth a lonely, beautiful, and dangerous testament to a universe wide enough for every kind of horror.